And okay, guys and girls, people are selling and they're saying to us all the time, what do we do? 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 We're going to talk about when you are selling, what you should do. Anything to add to that, Miss Lisa?
No, you said it all.
So if I go like that to stand, then my head looks bigger, Lisa.
I see. A few little technical hitches.
It's right size heads.
Okay, whatever you say, even though I'm standing on a box because Mark's very tall. Guys, you've got Mark and I tonight. We're going to be talking about whether or not to renovate your property. I reckon it's probably up there in the top 3 questions we get asked before people bring their properties to market. So if I renovate more, am I going to get more money for the property? It's a real juggling act. So we're going to be spending the next 20 or so minutes talking about that tonight.
It's almost like a renovation anxiety that people have, and sometimes it's all going on in their head. Sometimes they're scared to even ask or scared to have an agent through to see if there's things they need to do or don't do, and they just think, can't do it, and the years roll on.
Yeah, it is a bit of a balancing act, guys, because sometimes, you'll get through, usually a vendor will get through 2 or 3 agents. One agent will say, definitely, we've got to do everything. We need to redo the fence. We've got to redo the roof, the kitchens, the bathrooms. And then another agent will come through and go, it's fine just the way it is. And then you've got another agent who sort of says something in the middle, like, let's just Mickey Mouse it up. Let's just get some styling done and let's get the property on the market. So the reality is there is no right and there is no wrong. And it really depends, guys, on where you are, where the market is really, where the property market is sitting. So let's talk about at the moment, because this is honestly a question that we are getting asked endlessly. Whether or not people should be renovating their properties to bring them on the market. So I have I'm just about to bring on a really, really good house in a great location, and there is not a lot of stock around in this particular location. I can't say where yet because I'm actually just about to sign it up. I just got the thumbs up on it. So this is an older style property that does need a lot of work. It is in a phenomenal location and it's got views, and there is not a lot of stock around in the market in this particular precinct. And the vendor said, what do we do? Should we do the kitchen and should we do up the bathrooms? The big issue at the moment is trades are really, really hard to get. They're very, very hard to get, and the cost of building materials went up by about 40%. I think it's all calming down a little bit now from what I hear out there. But you go through and you sort of start to do a property like that up, and you either miss the market, more stock comes on the market, and all of a sudden you're selling with an enormous amount of competition rather than in isolation, or what you thought was going to be a 2 or 3 month project ended up taking 6 to 9 months.
Which it always does.
Because of the reasons that I just mentioned. You always end up spending more money. And I'm always saying to my vendors, are we going to make money from that?
Well, that's right. I think sometimes people are trying to do a property renovation. Is that screwdriver going through my head?
Yes, we did not put it there on purpose.
Sometimes people are doing a property renovation to sort themselves out in their mind, as in like they just want to feel good about the process and then they did the right thing in the renovation. I think probably the most important thing to consider is the add value that it's going to put on. So if you're spending 30 grand, you want to make 60 grand. If a lot of the people now saying that aren't selling and getting the price, they're saying, well, we're going to hold off. You're like, okay, how long are we going to hold off? We're going to hold off so we can make an extra 100,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, how long is it going to take for you to achieve that over how many years? It's the same thing with the property renovation. So are you doing it to sort of feel warm and fuzzy and to center yourself and go, yep, that's the right thing?
I'm having a bit of a laugh.
Or are you doing it to make money?
Sorry, I'm having a bit of a laugh because Michael Silich is sitting behind us. And actually, can we just pull the green screen across for a minute? Michael, you've got me laughing. Let me just show you. Where are you?
Hello, everyone.
So Michael has decided that he's going to sit right behind us in the studio. Bring over the noise that you've just been making. And eat his dinner right behind us.
That's a big bowl.
Yeah, that's
all we've been hearing while we've been doing the live is
I didn't think it was that loud.
He's too far stuck into his food. I've never, ever seen anyone eat as much as Michael does. That would have to be your 5th meal for the day, Michael.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Oh, that's so funny. So this is a green screen behind us. This is actually our office here. We put the green screen over. What do you reckon, Michael? I mean, Michael and I work together. It is a question we're asked a lot. What do you reckon?
In terms of renovating property, listening to what Mark and Lisa were saying, I agree in terms of you only want to be doing it if you're going to get the dollars back. Like Mark said, you don't want to just be renovating, I guess, to make yourself feel like I've done it right. Follow your agent's lead with it, because sometimes there's things that are crucial, like something really simple. You used to have a water leak in a wall, and now you can see all the bubbling in the paint. It's been fixed, but the paint's all bubbled, so therefore the buyers will walk through and go, oh, what's that? And it could really detract from when you're doing your open homes, versus that's a really easy fix and just a quick paint job.
I agree.
It's that sort of stuff. You want to look for minimum dollars spent, but maximum value add.
100%. And again, guys, it really depends on the property. So this particular property that I was just referring to a moment ago, a property that does need a lot of work in a cracking position, it's kind of like, where do you start, where do you stop? So, again, kitchen and bathroom renos are really expensive. Materials are expensive. Trades are hard to get. So it's this balancing act. And I've had times where a vendor has gone, no, look, I really want to do it. And then they've come and they've given the property back to me. And I'm like, guys, the market's come off 5% in that time that you've actually done those renos. So it's not to say that they shouldn't be done. As Michael said, you've got to follow your agent's lead. Now, there's also a big difference between renovating a property and actually just Mickey Mousing it up to bring it to market, i.e. doing things like paint and carpet. I'm a massive advocate for that kind of stuff. And also styling's another one that I want to talk about as well, because that could come under that banner of renovation.
Well, I think maximum impact, minimum cost is the best advice
It is.
I could give
I
people
agree.
in today's segment, where you're making the most influence to impact, and it's costing you the least amount of money. Paint makes a huge change.
Oh my
to a
God,
property.
it's crazy how much
Carpet makes a huge change to a property. Blinds and curtains and stuff like that make a huge change. So I think those sort of things are really, really money well spent. Not only that, it changes a lot of senses. There's a smell when you walk in. It feels fresh, smells fresh, looks fresh. Like, I think
true.
It starts appealing to other senses as well.
So true. There's also really clever things.
When a woman uses perfume.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Good analogy, Mark. But, there's a lot of things that you can actually do to freshen a property up. As Mark mentioned, paint and carpet, so cheap, really so cheap, and makes an enormous amount of difference. Sometimes we'll walk into a kitchen and the very, very smallest things can make the biggest difference. It could be painting some kitchen cupboards. These days, I know you can rewrap kitchen cupboards. So if you've got like a,
crazy.
wooden style finish on a cupboard, you can actually take the cupboard doors off and you can rewrap them and put on new hardware, and that's going to make the world of difference. But it's always about asking the question, are we going to make more money as a result of doing those renovations? That's a big critical thing. I remember I was called into not do an appraisal, but it was a property that was on the market with another agent, and I'd met these lovely people, and they had asked me to come up and have a look at their property. It had been on the market for a little while. And the big long list of things that the agent had told these poor people to do, I was just like,
well, how do you know? So how would you know it as I think maybe 3 opinions is a good idea, or an agent that's an absolute weapon in their field. They're known, they're a trailblazer for success.
Yeah.
You can trust one, but I think getting 2 or 3 is always good.
Styling's another thing as well, because I do want to address that. Property styling is, I love it. We actually work with a phenomenal stylist. I like using her stuff because it's different to everyone else's, the property stylist. is who we use. Kiara, she's amazing.
There you go.
I
There's a good tip.
love using her because her furniture and the stuff that she uses is different to a lot of the other stylists. Because sometimes what can happen, Mark, is you've got all the same furniture going into these properties, and when the photos are taken, everything starts to look very similar online.
Yeah.
So I like to use Kiara because her furniture is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's really different. But that can make the world of difference, but it's not always necessary.
Yeah. And I do have to say, I have seen a lot of clients in the last 6 months miss the boat. They put the property renovation first. They've been held back in time. What they thought's going to take weeks takes months, and they've missed the boat. Then Christmas comes along, they miss the boat again.
Agreed.
So I think that really have a good long hard think. If you come into market at the moment, it's just some of the numbers on the Northern Beaches, 630 properties. This time last year was probably more like 800 properties. It's probably 630 on realestate.com is probably the lowest number I've seen in a very, very long time. My point is to rush your property on the market, minus around renovations, sometimes can be a good idea rather than holding it back for another 3 or 6 months. And you could be in a market that's not as good as it is today.
Or you've got more. Okay, that's exactly right. So roller coaster market, God knows what the market could potentially do over the next 3 to 6 months.
RBA is going to do all that stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. And also you don't know what other stock is going to come on. So right now, as Mark said, low stock levels.
Yes.
I'm actually just saying to my vendors, let's go. Let's get it rocking and rolling. Paint, carpet, styling, if it's necessary.
Yeah.
We can also, these days, we can drop in virtual furniture. So if styling can be expensive, guys. I just got a quote for a 4-bedroom house, and definitely not taking away from this. Again,
10 grand.
The question, near 10 grand to style a 4-bedroom house. But the question is, you're right though, is it going to make us more money? That's the question I'm always coming back to when my vendors are saying, Lisa, I think, I really just want to redo the bathroom. And I'm going, is it going to make us more money at this moment where with respect to what the real estate market is doing right now?
If you had to choose, if you're only allowed to do one thing on your property?
Paint.
Yeah.
Yep, it's cheap and it has maximum impact.
Yep.
Maximum impact. Now, the other thing is, guys, always go for the crowd-pleasing stuff. Often I'll be sitting with a vendor. I'll only ever give them 4 varieties of colour carpet to choose from.
What colour walls would you do paint?
Always white. No one ever said they don't like white walls. Always white.
Colour carpets?
Look, usually a pale grey. It depends. If it's a big space and it can handle a deep colour, usually I'll go for a nice charcoal colour. Just the crowd-pleasing stuff. And if it's a smaller space, just going for a lighter coloured grey. We are selling your property not for you to live in. We're selling it for someone else to live in. So you've got to move.
A blank canvas.
Yeah. But you've got to move out of that live mode, and we have to move you into sell mode. That's really important. Really, really important. What else, Mark? We got any comments? Is anyone commenting tonight? I'll tell you what, we've had a really, really big listing week, guys. The last 7 days has been a very, very big listing week. It's interesting. I wonder if this is the beginning of the stock all about to hit the market here on the Northern Beaches.
So who's the company that you recommend?
It is the Property Stylist, Kiara.
Yep.
They're awesome. Absolutely phenomenal. What's the noise in the background? He's gone all quiet now. He's eaten his food and run away. What else, Mark? What else is happening?
So in concluding with doing these works tonight with pimping your property to sell, we can't spell property either. It would be talk to your agent. You got to bloody talk to your agent, guys. The single most important thing is just to have a good old chin wag with your agent, the agent that you trust, that you got a relationship with, the agent that you're going to use. Ask those guys what they want. I think also when you're arming your agent, there's a good giving them what they want. Sometimes there's a bit of secret sauce in that.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of trust there. So if you can actually, what do you need? What are the tools you need? And they say, we need this, and you give them the tools they need. Sometimes you give your trade the tools they need, they get a better result when they got those tools.
Actually, speaking about trades, I do want to cover that actually, because this is a really important aspect. Guys, if you have got your property listed with us and works need to be done to that property, we look after all of that for you.
Yeah.
So this was a big conversation today with a big listing that I'm about to bring on. The vendor said, so what happens with all the invoices? And I said, we literally get them to send them straight to you. There is no markup. It's
illegal.
It's illegal to do it.
We would lose our business over taking a markup on a tradie.
Yep. So be aware of that as well.
Yep.
But we will orchestrate it all for you. Now, sometimes it's quite a substantial renovation.
Yep.
It's coordinating the trades for carpet and paint and cleaning and, putting up plantation shutters and getting the styling in the property and changing some tapware, etc., upgrading appliances. Again, we will coordinate it all for you. We'll get the quotes, we'll let the trades in and hand those invoices directly over to you. But Mark, we rarely talk about our trades. I want to talk about some of these phenomenal people that we actually have.
You know what I think is even more important? A trade gone wrong. How much that costs you. When we use or recommend the trades we recommend, these guys don't miss a beat. They don't stuff nothing up. They charge honestly. And I just think if it's like making a cake. It's whether you make an awesome cake or a great cake, it's cool. You make a shit cake, a bad cake, it's a mess. And no one's going to eat cake, right? So when you're choosing it, when we've got the consistency of the trades we recommend, they can't do wrong. And that saves you so much money. If you ever got your carpet wrong, if you ever had your painting done badly, it costs you so much more. So I know it's great to say that a great trade is not just someone who's a Picasso of what they do, but it's well priced.
Yep.
It's consistent. It's good work. It's just so many other trades that are behind that as
Definitely.
well.
And because we do give these guys so much work, and they're local Northern Beaches guys and girls, because we give them so much work, all we ask for in return is that there is speed of service for our clients.
Yep.
And that they look after them on rates. So they're going to be extremely competitive. Carpet, paint, handyman work, electricians, plumbers. These guys have been working for us forever and a day. And as I said, we give them the business, but all we ask for in return is that you guys are looked after.
Yep.
So, and that's really important. Like, we will literally orchestrate that whole thing. You could throw the keys to us and say, there you go, get it painted, get it carpeted, get it styled, do what you need to do and get it sold. And it's done.
Well said.
There we go. All right, guys. But the question I always want you to be thinking of is it going to make me more money if I do that?
Don't spend $1 to make $1.
Exactly.
You want to spend $1 to make $2.
Yep. Absolutely.
Back, or your net what you spend out of it.
Yep. Agreed.
That's the super, super important thing. Pimp your property to sell. That's our segment. This week, Lisa, anything else was interesting for you?
Just stock coming on now. Like, I am starting to see it. I don't know if this is going to be across the board here on the Northern Beaches or if we have been, I tell you what, we have been literally head down, bum up this side of the year. We have been head down, bum up, putting in some enormous hours.
Nailed.
And getting some phenomenal listings as a result. So stay tuned. Actually, I do want to cover something else.
Thanks, Fontini.
Thank you, Fontini. That's so lovely of you. I do want to cover something else. We don't just sell property here in this local vicinity. I have gotten listings in the last few days in Manly, Newport, right across the Northern Beaches. I know there's a lot of agencies that just stick to their core area. And there's no doubt we do an enormous amount here in DY, but we do everywhere. Camaray, Cremorne. I was asked if I would sell something in Kirribilli.
Away.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yes, we do. We do a huge catchment. I will, as an agent, I will actually do right out of area if it's worth my while, if I've got the capacity to do so.
The trust.
Yep, the trust is there. Sometimes vendors are like, can you sell my property
And
for
you
me?
love the people. It's like,
Yep.
of course we will. We got to. Another thing, Lise, and guys that are watching, yeah, we called it last November as the bottom of the market.
We did.
We saw unprecedented amounts of people turning up to open houses in January. We saw unprecedented amounts of people turning up in February. We are now seeing all of those purchases that were looking to become true purchases, and they're actually making purchases and doing acquisitions.
Yep.
RP data officially called the last month the first month of capital growth out of 14 months of zero capital growth, as in it was negative in growth in New South Wales, in Sydney, for 14 months. It was down. This was the first month where the market went up. It's official. So I really do believe we smashed that on the head in November. That was the bottom of the market. And I do believe it's people are sort of getting really climatized and used to the rates and the prices and stuff like that.
People know there's change about.
No more negative growth, I reckon.
Yeah, people know there's
gone.
change about. I think a lot of the buyers are in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment. They know something's changing. They're just not quite sure what it is. And everyone's sort of just in a bit of a, everyone's just in a bit of a hovering pattern, just waiting to see what the next move is.
Yeah.
Oops. But also Mark and I have been asked tomorrow to attend, and I can't say what because I think it's confidential, but we have been asked to attend as property experts to a very, very large banking summit. We will hopefully be able to report some more post that. It's a big, big deal. And it's an absolute honour and privilege to be asked to be a part of it.
You will see it on our socials tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, you will. So stay tuned for that.
And I promise what you will see.
It's going to be hot off the press.
Yeah. What you will see on our socials tomorrow is the best information from some of the best people in the industry of banking, financing, real estate.
Some of the heads of very large
property,
news corporations.
Data.
Yep.
I love data.
Fact.
Some of that stuff coming out, you're going to see from us tomorrow. You're going to be blown. It's going to blow your socks off. The questions that everyone's has been asking is going to be answered by the best people in the business.
I think there's been something like 6,000 people that have actually registered for this. So it's going to be really exciting. And as I said, it's an absolute honour to be asked to attend as the property experts there. So stay tuned, guys. You'll hear it hot off the press as soon as we're allowed to release it. That's for sure. That's a wrap.
Ciao, ciao.
See you guys.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.